We spend our lives standing in front of the mirror, cataloging our flaws. You tell yourself you aren't ready. You aren't calm enough, bold enough, or perfect enough to lead. But perfection is a ghost. Today, you will learn the truth. Because what you call your greatest weakness is actually the hidden shadow of your greatest strength. Stop searching for flawless. Start building for whole. In a quiet valley of Oregon stood a legendary woodworking shop known simply as the Foundry. For 40 years, it was run by Arthur, a master carpenter whose hands turned rough pine into poetry. But one bitter winter, the master passed away. His heavy oak workbench lay empty, and the shop desperately needed a new leader. The remaining craftsmen had grown tired of small mistakes and trivial problems. They made a silent vow. This time, they would not settle. They wanted a master without a single flaw. They wanted a perfect leader. A meeting was called in the sawdust-covered room. Old Silas, the shop's finisher known for patience and wisdom, presided. He asked in a slow, clear voice who among them claimed to be perfect. First, Marcus stepped forward. He was a giant of a man, arms rippling with power. "I have the strength to carry his legacy," Marcus declared. He believed he could mill the heaviest timber and protect the shop from any threat. But a quiet voice from the back spoke up. "Yes, you are strong, but have you forgotten your temper?" Just last week, Marcus smashed a priceless mahogany chair to splinters because a chisel slipped. His anger could destroy them all. A perfect leader cannot be angry. Marcus stepped back, unable to deny the truth. Next, David stepped into the light. He was calm, methodical, dignified. "I don't share Marcus's temper," he said, voice measured. "I have a long memory and deep wisdom in the craft. I am the perfect choice." But another craftsman shook his head. "You are wise, but terrified of taking risks." David was so afraid of making a wrong cut that he sometimes froze for days, nearly ruining a project over a tiny mistake. A perfect leader cannot be paralyzed by fear. David hung his head. Then came Julian, the shop's visionary designer. He drafted blueprints that shimmered with beauty. "If not strength, then beauty makes a perfect leader," Julian said. "I have no anger, and I am not clumsy." But Silas sighed. "You create beauty, Julian, but you worship your sketches and ignore the foundation. A perfect leader must have humility." Hours passed. One by one, every man stepped forward, and one by one, a flaw was found. The sun began to set, leaving the shop in shadow. The men were exhausted and frustrated. "It is hopeless," someone whispered. "There is no one perfect. We are doomed to remain without a leader." Old Silas slowly walked to the center. "My friends," he said softly, "look outside at the great oak that shields our shop." The men raised their eyes to the massive tree beyond the window. "Is it perfect?" Silas asked. "Of course," one man replied. "It gives us shade and blocks the wind." "Look closer," Silas said. "Its roots are twisted, breaking the ground beneath it. Its branches are so thick they kill the grass and block sunlight for smaller plants. If we judge this tree only by its flaws, we would cut it down. But if we did, we would lose the shelter that protects us from the storm." A heavy silence fell over the room. Silas looked at each of them. "We have spent the whole day looking for what is wrong," instead of what is right. He pointed to Marcus. Marcus has a temper, but his strength carries the heaviest loads. He pointed to David. David has fear, but his caution saves us from ruin. He pointed to Julian. Julian is vain, but his pursuit of beauty reminds us to find joy in our craft. Silas leaned against the empty workbench. There is no such thing as a perfect creature. Even the sun burns hot enough to kill, yet without it, nothing grows. Perfection is an illusion. A true leader is not one who has no flaws. A true leader knows their flaws and surrounds themselves with others who can cover them. The men looked at each other with new eyes. They no longer saw broken people. They saw unique strengths. Marcus turned to David. I have the back to carry the wood, but not the patience to measure it. Will you guide my hands? David smiled. I will. And Julian, will you help us see beauty when we get stuck in details? Julian nodded. It would be my honor. They didn't find a flawless leader. Instead, they realized that together they formed a perfect union. From that day on, the workshop flourished. Not because they found someone perfect, but because they accepted their imperfections and united their strengths. Look at your own life. You have probably spent years searching for the perfect partner, the perfect job, or the perfect version of yourself. And in this endless search, you are missing the beauty of what is already here. The truth is, no one is perfect. Every person has flaws, and every person has gifts. Your flaws are often the flip side of your greatest strengths. If you are highly empathetic, you might be easily overwhelmed. If you are deeply analytical, you might struggle with overthinking. If you are fiercely ambitious, you might lack patience. You cannot cut away the darkness without also destroying the light. The wise man does not try to become perfect. Instead, he accepts his weaknesses. He surrounds himself with people strong where he is weak and focuses on what he can offer the world. Your imperfections do not make you unworthy. They make you human. Stop punishing yourself for what is missing. The world doesn't need you flawless. It needs you willing. Willing to ask for help, to grow, and to share your beautifully flawed gifts. Embrace your twisted roots and start living.